Hey class, it's Dr. Bushman. For this assignment, we are going to talk about skill gaps, differences, or need in the workplace in regard to teaming and the recruiting process. Now, the presentation is geared specifically towards the Gen Z generation, but it doesn't mean that it is not applicable to all of the generations. The second video in this assignment is on team dynamics, and it covers the whole gamut of how teams are formed and how they go on to either perform or not perform. And it's incredibly important in this course because as any form of management, the hardest thing in life that we will do is typically manage people. And that is just the reality. It's easy to manage a process, but it is a very dynamic endeavor to manage people and teams. So I'm going to share out my desktop, and we're going to go get started on the presentation. So give me 1 second to share out desktop. And so here's our presentation. First off, this was a study from Career Builders, and it's a year old or so, year and a half old. But the thing is, over the last 18 months, the information and the statistics that are in this short presentation have gotten even more detailed. It is a nationwide phenomenon, and it's being reported in every state, every major employment report. So please keep that in mind. And again, this report specifically was on Gen Zers. However, the rest of the information that's out there are on college graduates in general. So it applies to everyone. So here's the thing. So it says it's crucial to understand that soft skills play a pivotal role in the success of entry-level candidates. So that's anybody that is transitioning from, let's say, a non-corporate type role into any kind of a structured government, corporate, institutional type role. And there are 4 areas that we must show, and all employees must show in regard to soft skills. Soft skills are things like adaptability, collaboration in teams, resilience and overcoming challenges. Technical proficiency is a hard skill. And that's one thing that most college graduates have. I mean, especially the younger generations, because they have grown up with technology. The one thing that is strikingly surprising, however, is that college students today know how to work an iPhone, but for some reason struggle with applications that you actually use in the workforce. That's also why the courses that will take, for me, that are designed by me, use real world applications like Mural, Canva, Lucid Charts, and others that are actually used out in the workforce, so that when you go to apply for a job, you can put on your resume that you have real applicable technical skills for that particular profession or role. So 31% of hiring managers are skipping over Gen Z. That's a really scary statistic. Matter of fact, marketing managers and hiring managers across the country have actually said that they're hiring maybe even previously retired employees back into the workforce. And why is that? Well, it's 94% of hiring managers say that they've encountered inappropriate behavior during a job interview. I remember one person who showed up 15 minutes late for the job interview, and they did not understand why the interview lasted about 5 minutes, and then they didn't get the job. Pretty simple. If you can't make it to your interview on time, what chance would an employer actually have to believe that you would show up for work at the time? So some other things, 58% said Gen Zers didn't dress appropriately for the interview. One of the basic skills when you go to get a job and interview is you should be doing research on the environment, the organization's environment, how they dress, the language that they use, their corporate culture. 57% said they struggle with eye contact. This is why the teams meet in this class live online at least once a week with your cameras on so that you can actively practice talking in a team meeting. It's also one reason why we do the video vignettes in your presentations so that you are live on video while you're doing your presentations so that you get practice looking into a camera, practicing the sort of eye contact when you're delivering information. And the 19% used inappropriate language. And again, that's just part of making sure that you study the corporate culture before you actually go in for your first interview. And you can do that usually by looking at their social media, looking at their website, and doing a little investigation about the products that they sell. And especially on LinkedIn. You can go in LinkedIn and type in a search for a company and look for some of their employees and kind of get a feel for the type of people that work there. Some other reasons why 31% of hiring managers are skipping over GP. And again, remember, some of these apply to everyone now. For the last 18 months, we've gotten that data. 54% had to fire an employee, 36% within the first month of employment. Again, for some of those reasons on the first slide. The lack of adaptability, the lack of being able to work on a team, the lack of interpersonal skills, etc. 42% asked, of course, expected too much money. 41% lack communication skills, which is again why we do teamwork and courses. And then 39% said Gen Zers just aren't prepared for the workplace. And that is our job at SBC. We want to make sure that we're providing real world experience, real world job skills as best as we can in our courses so that when you get into that workplace environment, you know a little bit more what to expect. And so you're the one who keeps the job and excels in the profession. And finally, here are some of those statistics from the 2024 hiring report. Again, in 2025, these figures have been verified and expanded upon subsequent reports. And basically, for some reason, we don't know causality. There's speculation, but for some reason, Gen Z and the younger generations haven't learned what a corporate job culture is. Matter of fact, we have some programs here at St. College where your internship isn't even to actually do a job. The internship is to actually just go and shadow the corporate employees and learn what it's like to be in a corporate environment. What language do they use? How do they act? How do they communicate? What is a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 corporate job look like? And so it just helps our students get orientated or orientate themselves and set expectations for what it's going to be like when they get into the workforce. Of course, we already talked about 95% of hiring managers praised college graduates' computer skills. However, again, it doesn't necessarily mean they translate to workforce skill. So we want to make sure you're using real world applications in our courses. And then, which goes to the next point, using technology on your phone doesn't translate into interpersonal communication skills. So being able to text is not the same as having an eye-to-eye, face-to-face conversation or picking up a phone in a phone conversation with someone. So those are skills that we also try to build into our courses. And the last bullet kind of goes along with that. So hopefully you're at 62% that communicate great. If you're in the 38% that don't, we're here. If you experience difficulties in the team formation process, that's why your instructors contact us, meet with us, call us, let us mentor you in those skills because every one of us works in a team currently and has worked in a team, typically in a corporate or at least institutional environment. And finally, one of the things that colleges, higher educational institutions, and businesses are doing are creating mentoring programs so that they could help entry-level employees understand what we just discussed. And one of the other things, and it's funny, this trend has been going on for a couple of decades. 20 years ago, my wife had a business actually teaching college students business etiquette and how to actually have a meal. Because there are certain things that are expected when you're having a this meeting. Matter of fact, there's a current commercial out that I think is hysterical, and it's a guy who's just gotten promoted onto a management position. They're meeting as a team, and he sees his boss's Georgia Dogs cup, and so he starts barking like a dog, uh, to kind of engage her. And of course, later on, people in the office are making fun of him. He's like, "Wow, bad decision," barking at your boss's Georgia Dogs cup. Um, that's the kind of stuff that it demonstrates some of the things that are actually happening in the workforce. And so it's not just the last few years. My wife, 20 years ago, had a small business doing this to help college graduates understand what it's like in the business world. Um, so SBC has your back. Let us help you. Thanks for listening to the presentation, and I wish you all well in your teams for the class. Take care.